Today, we are going to install the new DRT Motorsports RNGXPRB1 rear winch bumper. This bumper fits the 2019 Plus Polaris Ranger XP 1000, all models. Install time is 45 minutes to an hour. Can be installed by yourself but easier with a friend. With a difficulty level of beginner. Tools needed for this job are a 4 and 5mm Allen wrench, a 15 and 16mm wrench, a 3/8 ratchet, an 8, 13 and 15mm socket, a dead blow hammer or rubber mallet, and don't forget your safety glasses. So, gather the tools, and let's install. Let's remove the tailgate. Unlatch the tailgate. Then, unhook the cable limiter hooks from the bed. Now lift the tailgate up and set it aside. Next, remove the backing nuts from the bed hinge bolts using a 15mm socket and 16mm wrench and set them aside. Leave the hinge bolts in place and using a mallet of some kind, tap the threaded end of the bolts inward so they are flush with the mount, but not any further as to dislodge them from the bed framework. Next, let's install the bumper mounts, and now is a good time to install the flush mount pod lights onto the bumper. Slide the lights into place from the front side of the bumper. Then, install the 4 Allen head screws for each light. Now, back them with the backing nuts and tighten them down. Once the bumper is in place, it will make for an easy wire loom hook up. Next, line up the passenger side bumper mount with the bracket holes as seen here, with the exhaust cutout facing downward. Then, install the 3 16mm supplied bolts and tighten them finger tight. Now, do the same to the driver's side bumper mount, and we are ready to install. Next, grab the bumper and slide the bumper into place, making sure the bumper mounts are on the outside of the hinge plate. Then, line up the hinge bolt holes and using the mallet tap the bolts back through the mounting plate. Now, reinstall the OEM backing nuts and tighten finger tight. Next, grab the 2 supplied carriage bolts and lift the bumper up and in place. Install the carriage bolt in the square hole closest to the back of the vehicle and do so from the inside of the mount outward. There is only one hole that lines up with the slot in the bumper. Then, install the backing nuts and tighten finger tight. Next, using a 13mm socket, remove the 2 bolts on each side of the underside of the bed frame edge and set them aside. Then grab the bumper gap plate and set it in place as shown here. Now reinstall the 4 bolts mounting the ends of the gap plate and tighten them finger tight. Next, install the 4 13mm bolts in the gap plate, securing it to the rear of the bed. Do not tighten them down yet. Then install the 8 5mm Allen bolts along the top of the bumper, as shown here. Now, install the backing nuts and tighten finger tight. Then, using a 13mm socket, tighten down the top hardware, starting with the 2 outside bolts on each side under the bed. Then, move to the 4 bolts across the back, and then the 8 5mm bolts across the top of the bumper. This secures the bumper to the gap plate, and the plate to the bed. Next, using a 16mm wrench, tighten down the bumper bracket mount bolts on each side. Then tighten down the 2 carriage bolts, and finally, tighten down the bed hinge bolts. Next, grab the Ranger tailgate and reinstall it in reverse order it was removed. Then, make sure it opens and closes properly. Now unlatch and tilt the bed back, making sure the bumper clears the tire. The bumper will clear up to a 32-inch tire with a 1/4 inch clearance. At this point, if the bed is difficult to open and close, you can access the bed hinge bolts and loosen them a little to free up the movement of the bed. Congrats, that completes your DRT Ranger rear winch bumper install. This rear winch bumper adds much needed protection and winch capability to the rear of your Ranger. It comes with integrated LED lights and includes removable mesh inserts that can be easily color matched to your vehicle. This bumper adds much more strength, protection, and functionality to your Polaris Ranger. Until we meet on your next DRT install, be safe out there. If you have any questions during your installation, don't hesitate to contact us via phone or email. We are here to help.